the one out at sea, and I will come back to it. And you know, we have, if you look back to the last year, we had almost 10,000 times. It was leaving the quayside 10,000 times with our equipment, our boat, our hovercraft. And we have a lot of boat and hovercraft, and I will come back to it. And we was responsible for almost 70% of all missions in the rescue issue. And when we're talking about rescue, we have a priority 1 rescue when we are going out, and it's people are depending on us, but we are coming out depending on it could be an accident, it could be something quite important. People could have fallen down, they could have been on, for instance, on an island. We have ambulance transport, and we have about 1,500 ambulance transports each year, and about 1,100 prior 1 out calls. So it's quite important for us. And we are quite alone, I must say. If you look at the picture here, you could see we have a Coast Guard, we are doing about 10%. We have a police, about 3%. We have Swedish Maritime Administration, about 15%. And also the Navy, about 3%. And when we're looking into it, you could actually see that the only one to provide mobile facilities are dedicated to the rescue is the Swedish Maritime Administration with the helicopters and we with the boats. And we are the boat people. You know, it's quite important. We are the boat people. We come from the boating society, we come from fishermen in 1907, and we are the boat people and our members. You know, we have 110,000 members in Sweden, and they count on us, but we are the boat people, and we have the boats to come out to help them when they are in need. And I suppose most of you have, I think we are only 3 with not Swedish here. I hope most of you, if you are out and you are interested in boating, but you are members of our society. It costs only 700 crowns, and you have to pay when you are leaving. You know. But when we look into the accidents out at sea, about 95% of all rescue missions in Sweden are made in response to distress calls from pleasure boats. And this is quite important, because when we were founded, we started in operation in 1907, about 95% of all rescue missions was for fishermen and commercial boating, and only about 5% for the yachting society. So today it's completely different, turned around. And you know, in Sweden, as you know, if you are from Sweden, we have 100 million pleasure boats in Sweden. You know, we also have 110,000 inland lakes. And on these 110,000 inland lakes, we have pleasure boating on 50,000 of these inland lakes. It's quite important. We are like Finland, you know, sure. And today we have 70 rescue stations all around Swedish coast, from up in north, going down the coast up to Strömstad, and on the west coast. And we are increasing this station because we are going to go more and more into inland waters, because the most drowning today happens on the inland waters. But you know, it's quite, what you call it, very hard. It's a hard issue to go to the inland waters, because we actually don't know where the people are. We know it on the big lakes, but on the small lakes, it's quite impossible. This is why the helicopters is so necessary. We have today 5 helicopters and 2 reserve helicopters, 2 helicopters standby. So we have 7 helicopters in all in Sweden. And they are operated by the Swedish Maritime Administration. And they are quite good helicopters. And the use of them will increase. But, you know, increasing. But it will be more focused on the inland waters, because the most drowning happens actually on the inland waters. If you have, for instance, a cell telephone, mobile telephone, and you are out and you could make a call, we almost in all cases we could rescue people. The people we could not rescue out on waters is the people who are not even able to make a distress call, you know. And to do this we have plenty of boats. Too many boats, I think. But this is the boat we are currently operating, our main boat. It's a 12 meters boat. And the open boat is an 8 meters boat, and the big one is a 20 meters boat. And they are built by our staff. The construction is by Rolf Eliasson, but they have actually been improved by the staff, and I will come back to the staff. But you know, we even have some quite funny things. We have hydrocopter, very nice thing. The propellers, 16 propeller blades. It's a sound machine, sound engine, you know. It's terrible. But it is a very good thing to be operating when the ice is not, you could not either ice, you could not go on it, but you could not either break it. And when we have the icing condition, we also have the operation every year. I think we have 13 hovercrafts, but we are operating 15 because we operate also the Swedish Maritime Administration's hovercrafts. And you know, if someone is here from Stockholm, they are crazy in Stockholm, you know, during the winter time they go out ice skating on the, not lakes, out at sea, because they think it's wonderful to be out in the archipelago. It could be about 15,000 people going out in the Stockholm archipelago during Sunday in March. And this is why we need our hovercrafts. And we also have rescue runner. And this rescue runner is a small tool. You could see a part of a rescue runner outside when you come in. It's a wonderful tool if you have to go into white water. And we have 2,300 crew members, voluntary crew members. Today, approximately 400 people have a pager on it, just now. And we have 70 stations up and running, you know. And now we're coming back to what you are interested in. In 2007, we was 100 years old. And in 2008, we were starting to make a question to ourselves, what could we do about the environmental? Because we realized that we was the biggest operator of big diesel engines, heavy diesel engines, in small, fast boats, you know. And we started looking into what we could do. We were looking into fuel, the lubricants, the paint, the waste, and the recycling. And this is what we still are doing today, looking into these issues. You could ask our staff and about it later on. But also, it is quite important, we are looking into design. And this is a look over a new design. I mean, it's a 40 meters rescue boat with electric engines, diesel engines and electric engines in. You could ask our people here about this boat later on. And you know, design is quite important, because when we are looking into the boats, we have a wake problem when you are going in a small archipelago, because we have heavy boats. Even the small boats, 12 meter, could be 14 tons boats, providing 1,000 horsepower, providing quite big wakes. And we also have the sound from the boats, and we also have the emissions from the boats, because we're operating about, I think, about 250, maybe no more than 250, about 300 big diesel engines. And when I mean this big diesel engine, it's 8 cylinders engines of Scania and Volvo make. And now the most important thing. I wonder why we just put me here in front, but we have Johanna, please stand up. Yes, she is responsible for our maintenance system. And we have Per Egon. the young guy, you know, Per Egon, he is just learning how to build boats. I think he has built about 120 of our big rescue boats. Responsible, I think he is the one building most boats, and he is responsible for our current fleet. And he's a nice guy. He should be retired, but we don't know it yet. Because when we have Marie-Louise Dahlberg, please stand up. And Marie-Louise is the one to solve our problem, because he is the one responsible for the up and running of our fleet. You know, when Per Egon had been building the boat go out to the station, and 10 minutes after the boat had come to the station and look at wonderful boat, they phoned Marie-Louise and asked her about something in the equipment. And you know, some of our boats are 12 meters. We have almost 40 of them, but some we built in 1995, so we have to repower them, you know, we have to change the engines, we have to change the electronic, you know. We don't have not one of our electronic guys inside here, but you know, we're always out changing the electronic equipment. But these three people you should ask. And I'm Tore Hagman, and I am retired. I want to go out and walk with my dog. And they asked me nicely to come here yesterday evening about it. And I am a professor at telematics, but I am also been involved in shipping. I see one of my old friends here, sitting on former transatlantic. And you know, I know you have a lot of experience, and you must understand that for Swedish Sea Rescue Society, it's quite important. You are the most important people, because in the former days, as today, we have to rely on the big shipping company. We have to rely on the experts on the big shipping company, on the operational people, the engineering people, because we have no money to create this looking into the new systems. You know, it's quite expensive. We was interested, for instance, to look into more and more environmental friendly diesel engines. We started up and looking into it in 2008. But you know, we have to rely on the industry, because we are a non-governmental organization, so we could actually not spend money on research. A small part of the money we could spend, but you know, most of the money must go into the rescue missions, because we are a rescue organization. And now, if you have any questions, you have today to have asked Johanna, Per Egon and Marie-Louise about our fleet, and also please ask them about what do you Swedish Sea Rescue Society want in the future, because we are depending on your expertise. Thank you for me.
Thank you, Tore, very much. Last time we were here, we were told that the view might be a bit too good, because the audience tend to look outside rather than on the person talking. But if you promise to keep your attention, then we can still enjoy the view a little bit at a time. So we'll keep them up. And I would like to introduce today's moderator, Johanna Mossberg, manager of F3 Center, the Swedish Knowledge Center for Renewable Transportation Fuels. I'm not sure if I should have this on. Okay, we'll have a look. It should be on. Is it on mute? Okay. Do you hear me? No. And do you hear me now? No. No? Okay. Oh, should we swap? And then we'll investigate. Now we have some more Can you hear me if I go like this? Or is it... Yep. Do like that. And see if I can get some pictures. Oh, perfect. And I'm scrolling, turning them in the beginning. Perfect. And you can still hear me? Great. It's the technical issues every time. And I'm actually an engineer. Every time I enter the encounter with computers and stuff, I doubt my engineering skills. But I'm really happy to be here as your moderator for today. I have met some of you before, but not that many. And just like Eva said, I'm the managing director of F3, which is a joint knowledge center for renewable transport fuels, or we say in short, fossil-free fuels. And we are Lighthouse, that you know, all of you quite well, I think. We're a mix of universities, institutes, and industrial companies that work together on the issues of renewable transport fuels. We have been working mainly with road transport, but we have some projects related also to the marine sector, and also both from a feedstock perspective, looking at how to turn into marine feedstocks into fuels, but also in the use of fuels for boating of different sorts. And Julia will talk later this afternoon, and she's partly funded from one of our projects in that work that she will present. So these are our current partners. We are now in a 4-year period, which ends this year, and we're renewing this set of partners for the next coming 4 years. And we're funded by the partners, but also by the Swedish Energy Agency, the region of Västra Götaland, and by Vinnova for being a platform towards Horizon 2020 in the area of biofuels. And the foundation of what we do is that the drivers, when they founded this center, we have actually been around for 7 years almost. And the basis was that one could see that 7 years ago, as of still today, this question about renewable fuels is quite interesting. We say that renewable fuels is a must if we're going towards a fossil-free or a fossil-independent future. Then we need to replace the fossil fuel with renewable fuels of some sort. And when I say renewable fuels, I mean both biofuels, but also electricity for different types of transport, and other types of renewable fuels, as electrofuels, for one example. And we will need this kind of renewable fuels to replace the existing use of fossil fuels. But we can say that it's not that easy to just take them and replace them, because we have some renewable alternatives today, and we see that we must have additional alternatives in the future if we're going to be able to have that large quantities. And also if we're going to have high cost competitiveness, we need to adapt the systems. And also for some fuels, there have been large debates about environmental sustainability, but also about acceptance from the users. So it's not an easy task just to say that we will replace the fossil fuel with renewable fuels. It's quite complicated and complex, and then as a researcher one gets quite happy and say that it's not an easy task. Then we need to investigate this. And we can also say that what we want to do, the core of this transition from the fossil to the renewable, is that we want to have a sustainable system, and then we want to do this transition the right way. And that's also rather complex, because one wants to be sure that even though we need to do something soon and fast, we don't want to go the wrong way if we can't turn back. And that's also quite interesting if you're a researcher. Then you want to investigate, okay, how can I know if some road is more robust than another one, or how should I know which alternative I should take? And usually when I go out and present, or if I attend a conference, I end up at the conference dinner next to someone, and that someone almost always, when I tell them what I do, they tell me that question, okay, but which fuel should I choose? Which is the best fuel? And it's almost every time I get that question. It's such a
would say, hard question, because there are no one fuel. I know that today we are interested in methanol. Methanol is a really good fuel for some applications, and we'll talk about them today. But we have a range of different renewable fuels that fit differently well in different solutions, and we need to have them all in different ways. So that's the drivers of the F3 Center, saying that we need renewable fuels. They will be an important part of the future system. And we want the future system to be sustainable, but it's rather complex. But we can use the Swedish research and the Swedish industry, because we have quite a lot of knowledge, both academic knowledge and actual practice in this field. And they joined forces to work with analysis and cooperation and collaboration in this area. And that's what we've been doing for 7 years now. So what we say that we do is that we contribute with broad scientifically based knowledge in order to support strategic planning in this area. And it's important to say that it's knowledge based. This is research that we do. But we do it on a systems level. So we conduct systems oriented research related to all the steps of the value chains for renewable transport fuels. Different feedstock, different processes, and different transport applications. And we also work as a platform for collaboration, both within Sweden, but also with similar sectors abroad, like in Norway and Canada. And we also work towards Horizon 2020 in the area of biofuels. So this is just a picture saying the same thing, that we work with the whole value chains. Sometimes we focus on different parts, like the feedstock, and it can be from the cow, or it can be from algae, or whatever, from the forest. Sometimes we might focus on the production processes, and sometimes we focus on the use. And we also work with social sciences, so it's not just engineering systems analysis. We also have projects where they look at how these fuels get accepted, or how can we look at policy instruments for different fuels, and how can we adapt, like using procurement. Well, it's a really tricky word. To drive sustainable fuels into the system of municipalities or regions. So it's different types of projects that we do. And I will just talk a little bit about the area to put it into context. This is a picture that I show when I go abroad. I like to show it because even though it's from the end of 2014 and the end of last year, it's a bit more. We are now up to 19%. This is road transport in biofuels. And that's quite a lot, because if you go to Norway, they have a goal of 20% in 2020. They are now at 5%. If we go to almost any other country in Europe, this is quite impressive. And they are quite impressed that we can have 20%. But if we're looking at what we want to achieve, we say that we want a fossil-free vehicle fleet or a fossil-free society in 2045. That's still not that much. We're not quite close, and that's only road transport. Then we have the domestic domestic air and sea transport as well. So one can say that even though sometimes when we go abroad it looks like we're quite far ahead, it's still a long way left. And also we can say that the majority of what we use, it's imported or based on imported feedstock, 85% almost. And that's not the field that you get, because when you talk about this transition, sometimes you have at the back of your head the vision of that it's also produced from the Swedish raw feedstock like the forest. So if we want to make this transition and we also want to benefit our domestic production, then we have quite a long way and some interesting challenges left. And another point I would like to make, now the words there are in Swedish, but the main point of this is that we have a number, like I said, we have a range of different fuels. These are saying what it is, it's the feedstock and then the product. So it's tall oil-based biodiesel HVO, and then it's ranged from here, below here we have biogas produced from different waste products. And what we can see is that all of these have a climate impact way below the fossil. And at the same time, we should remember when we investigate some of these are commercial, some are not today, But when we look at how to produce new renewable fuels, we also look at how to produce new fossil fuels, and they are even worse. So what this picture, what I'm aiming to say, we have also, I think we have methanol and DME from forest here. I guess you're interested in that. But what I want to emphasize is that sometimes we get the discussion that it should be just one type of fuel. It's not one type of fuel, it's to find all these fuels from the feedstock. Like biogas is really good, but we can't throw away more stuff just to make more biogas. That's not efficient, but we should use the waste we have for biogas production. At the same time, we need to fit, where does the fuel fit in a good way, because we need to make this transition, and then we have to make the efficient solutions and find them. And I think that this project that we're going to see more about today is one such good example, showing how could we do one concrete, practical example. So we need all the good solutions. And just to, since we are here, we can see almost some of it. We actually have a number of good examples in Sweden in development of fuels. We have here in Gothenburg, they are doing biodiesel based on tall oil. It's also produced from the forest industry in Sweden and refined up in Piteå, but the end product is made here in Gothenburg at the refinery. We have the Go By Gas plant that's producing gas from forest residues. We have the black liquid gasification demonstration plant up in Piteå that has made the methanol that you're running the GreenPilot on. And we also have initiatives now in Bäckhammar where they're trying to make fuels out of lignin, also from the forest industry. So we have a lot of examples in Sweden of groundbreaking, let's say, front-end technology development in this area. So we can say that we have high ambitions and we have many initiatives. And you can see on regular basis, this is a bit old, but we still have the same debate article saying that biofuels is key for renewable transport or fossil-free transport. But still, we see that we have quite a lot of challenges because we're not there yet. We are at 20%, but the majority, like I said, is, we can see the only growth we've seen the last couple of years is HVO. That's really good, but it's one fuel. So we have a lot of challenges. And what we say from the F3 Center, how do we manage this from the research and collaboration point of view? We say that we try to make projects that address these kinds of issues to try to provide a more scientifically based decision support for the actors that are going to take decisions in this area. And these are just typical questions of what we do, what type of questions that we study. And if you want to learn more about the F3 Center, what we do, I brought, of course, some information materials. I won't talk too much, I will put it here. But with that, I would like to say thank you for inviting me to be your moderator today and for giving me the opportunity to tell you more about the F3 Center. And I will try to keep the rest of the day also on time. I think I am on time. And we have time for if someone of you have a short question for me before at the same time we put a mic on standing. Yes?
On one of the pictures there was something called gödsel biogas, I guess many of biogas, which had a quite good negative impact.
Yes.
Can you explain?
Yes. No, I can't go back. But there were different bars, and one were if you were accounting, calculating as they want you to do with the EU Renewable Energy Directive, then it's a small positive impact. But if you expand the system and take into account that the manure, the leftovers from the biogas production, is used as a fertilizer, if you take that into account, then you get the negative numbers, and that's actually how the researchers want to calculate. So that's why we use the double bars to show what's the effect, what's the impact according to the EU RED, that type of calculations, and what is the impact if you calculate according to the ISO systems and use actually the expanded system. And the reason why for the forest-based that the blue bars with system expansion gets a bit higher is that you take into account that you take away bounded carbon in the soil carbon. That's the impact.
Tack för svenska. Du hade sustainability, hade du med ge ett gott exempel på vad menar du med
Sustainability?
ja,
Yes.
som här utmaningar till exempel, och att själva grunden är ju att det ska vara hållbart. Men är det utvecklingen av bränslet eller produktionen av bränslet?
Det är alla delar. Vi inkluderar projekt över alla delar, och många gånger, vissa projekt fokuserar ju, merparten av projekten fokuserar ju på koldioxidutsläpp, och då är det ofta ett livscykelperspektiv eller någon form av halvvärdekedje, helvärdekedjeperspektiv. Men vi har också projekt som tittar på andra delar av hållbarhet, som social hållbarhet, där man kan jämföra olika bränslen, både biobaserade och fossila, och kan se hur stor påverkan ursprungslandet för råvara och produktion har på den sociala hållbarheten. Och vi har också projekt som tittar på ekosystemtjänster, hur de påverkas av olika typer av bränslen och ökad produktion. Så det är hållbarhet som brett begrepp som vi infattar alla. Vi har projekt kring alla delarna av hållbarhet, både ekonomiskt och social och miljömässig hållbarhet.
There is another likely player in the future, and that will be electricity, and
Yes.
I mean solar energy. And that has not been discussed at all. I think that is also very sustainable. And,
Yes.
and will play a more and more important role for the all-in-all energy need.
That was not included in the picture of the fuels in the bars, but we include electricity also within the work that we do in the center, even though we haven't had that many projects on it yet.
Right.
But we have had a number of projects on electrofuels, turning in electricity into different fuels. To be able to use them in the existing infrastructures and systems. But electricity, like through battery-powered vehicles and stuff, that's also quite interesting. And I think that we need more studies to show how electricity can complement the liquid and gaseous fuels in a good way.
Quite a rapid development when it comes to that type of energy.
Yes, and still on the system level, we still have challenges to solve, like the recycling of different raw materials for the battery production, and also the source of electricity and so on. So yes, I agree with you fully. That's also very important. But I think that we will actually end for the questions now, because we need to hand over to Stanley, and I will get my
But we'll
papers.
give you an applause.
Oh, thank you. So, and I will actually hand over this one to you.
Thank you.
And then I will present you. So the next speaker is Stanley Olsson, and he is the project manager of Öckerö municipality, and he works with energy efficiency and environmental sustainability and the initiative for the ferries, which operate within the Öckerö municipality, but also towards back and forth between Göteborg and Öckerö, and how they can actually transform this system into a more sustainable one. And you have the challenge and the ambitions to be fossil free in just a couple of years. And you will tell us a little bit of how you plan for that journey.
Yeah.
So I give the floor to you.
Thank you very much, Joanna. I think you can hear me even if I don't use some technical help here. Okay, my name is Stanley Olsson, and I would like to give a short background why I'm standing here today, because I have no big relations to the marine industry. I would say it started for me 2014 in September, or you can say already in February 2014 I came in and should have a presentation for Öckerö municipality's bosses or managers around sites like this. And before I had that presentation, it was a presentation about customers and users. Brukare is the name of a customer when talking about municipalities. And I should have a presentation because I have been working for many years in the Volvo system. And they were a little bit curious if there was a big difference between a user or a customer. And before I hold this presentation, they told me that please read through some of the guiding instructions we have here at the Öckerö municipality. And that one of them was the environmental policy. And I must say, when I read that environmental policy, I really said, this is great work done, very simple, very straightforward, what the municipalities should do in order to improve the environment. And they also told me at that time that the ferry transport is the biggest CO2 producers and other emissions coming out in the air at Öckerö. And I said, okay, what are you doing with this nice environmental policy, and what are you doing with the ferries? That I would like to talk about, and then we are coming to the electricity. We will see if there be any sparks here, but hopefully. Okay, a little bit of my background. That is maybe not so interesting, but I have been working a lot with the trucks and diesel engines on that perspective. So there are some things that you can let me see now. There is the yeah. So my background here, especially when we talk about that time in the Volvo career, it was when we should introduce Euro 5 and the drivelines with that for all the tractors, 25,000 tractors for the European market. That was a big step for a big challenge for technicians and engineers because that was the time when we introduced the AdBlue systems and also the logistics behind the AdBlue in order to get that available for the whole market. That was a big challenge, and also to explain what was Euro 5. And that is something I have with me, so to speak. And I also worked a lot with some of the biggest customers we had, and they, of course, already for 5 years ago, pushed me very hard, saying, Volvo must start to build some hybrids, some electrical vehicles and so on, because to operate in Paris or in London, we need the best possible environmental performance. So that is the background when I came into this picture then. I will talk about Bohuslän, which is one of the 50 counties in Sweden. And why is Bohuslän important here? Yes, because Öckerö starts. That is the southern part of Bohuslän is Öckerö, and you can see it right out there. You see the bridge between Fotö and Hönö. Fotö is the southern part of Bohuslän. And why is Bohuslän important here? We think, living out on the island here, islands, that we have a fantastic environment. And has been working on a global perspective within Volvo Trucks. I retired 5 years ago from Volvo, and I said I started a little bit consultant business, and I said I can use some of my experience during those 39 years within the technical and commercial side of the business, and be very much on the local level, which was very nice, I must say. And I said, with this nice environmental policy you have produced here now, what will you do with that? And then in September 2014, we had the first meeting. It was an initiative that the municipality took and invited the players around the ferry transport. And that I would like now continue to discuss a little bit more what we have done and discussed during in that forum. And we have Fredrik and Peter and Håkan here from we have the two first is from Färjerederiet, which is of course a big player here, and Håkan is running the Öckerö Kommun's, Öckerö Authority's own ferries. I will just come back to that very soon. So this is the focus. We like the environment out there, but we are not alone. CNN Travel, they made a ranking, and you can see here the great wilderness in the world, the 10 of the last great wilderness in the world. And what has Bohuslän to do with that? Actually, Bohuslän came on place number 7 in that ranking. So that is something looking outside and in, and they say we have a fantastic environment. And should we, in that nice environment, very nice environment, use equipment which is not sustainable? That's a big question. So that is the starting point, you can say, and that goes hand in hand with the what I would like to talk about. I will then bring in maybe a new perspective to you from my experience on the truck side, and hopefully that can give you something at least. This is in Swedish, but you can see here what we are saying here. We would like to have a clear environmental profile, long-term sustainability, future generations' life quality should be secured. Very easy to understand and act on. And you also hear what we say here. Our position in the society should be used to influence, positively influence. And we said that also when we met the head of Västra Götalands Trafikverkets managing director there, and said we are here to influence and tell you what we would like to see in the future here when it comes to Öckerö. So sometimes it's nice to have a very clear small area to work from, instead of saying, hey, we have to look into every aspect all over the world. That is more complicated, of course. So we took that perspective in, and we got a very good feedback from that person, and said that is, of course, something we should work with. And my first finding was when I came in deeper into this from 2014, and I tried to really understand how is this working. How much will a ferry typically consume when it comes to fuel? There were a lot of questions around that. But I also noticed very quickly that the world I'm coming from, we have been from 1993, when the authorities in Europe said, if you would like to sell a new truck, you have to be inside this box, otherwise you can leave the business and do something else. And I remember also when my colleagues at Volvo said that it's a very, very tough demand. We're not sure if we can really do that. Everyone jumped over this, and all manufacturers in Europe had no problem really to do that. And then the government said, or the authorities said, okay, very good, but now it is Euro 2. Very good. Everyone complained internally and said that is impossible. It will be a very big problem. We will consume much more fuel and so on. But they didn't listen. They just said, okay, now we are here. So every new truck sold in Europe. So when the municipality is buying a new hook lift truck, you are here. But when you're going on the blue part here, then that is completely different. And that was a little bit not a shock, but I was really concerned about how could it be like this. Going into the nicest archipelago we have in Sweden, and ranked as number 7 in the whole world. And you can just continue to operate there with the technique which should not be there, I would say. Here is an overview of diesel engines from Volvo. You can find it on the internet. It's not a secret paper. It is really the way forward on the truck side from starting point 1980, which is the typical value, how much NOx you are letting out, how much particulates you are letting out. And I didn't have Euro 6 with me now, but even less. But here is the values now. You can see for yourself here what journey has been done here. And when you talk about Euro 6, when you have these particle filters, the catalysts and so on, every customer has to pay around 9,000–10,000 euro to get this equipment on each and every truck, and to be down on that low level. So that has not come for free, so to speak. It has been a very tough thing. So when you can see this as a rough figure. This is gram per liter, which means that if you have equipment from 1980, which is there are many boats still have help engines and so on going there without any cleaning at all. They are letting this out. So there could be done a lot of things very, very quickly and to get improvements done here. So even if there are tougher demands coming on the marine side, it's good of course, but it will still be big differences when it comes to the truck side of the business. So, findings, more findings. What I'm coming from was, we had in the big truck magazine, we said every drop counts in order to address our message to the big fleet owners around Europe, and said we are not only looking at liters, we are going even further to reduce your fuel consumption. And when I then came into the marine world, they talked about cubic meters. And I said, but hey, cubic meters, that is 1,000 liters. Yes, and yeah, and it was roughly cubic meters, would be 2, 3, 4, 5 cubic meters, and that's a lot of as I see it, pollutions from every single liter we are producing. So my question here is, when burning 1 liter of diesel fuel, how much fossil CO2 will be produced in kilo? 2. Yeah, I have also prepared some different values here. Because I have used this knowledge, I didn't have that too clear before I started this project, but then I asked some people who should know it. And I said, I haven't a clue. So the right answer is 2.65 kilo for every liter of fuel you are burning. And that is something, so when you're burning 1 cubic meter of diesel fuel, 2.6 ton of CO2 will go up in the atmosphere here. All right. In addition to the CO2, we have of course the NOx and the particles, which is really those 3 things we have to look into. It's very much focused on the CO2, of course, on the climate, but NOx and P are more for the local area, so to speak. And when I first came into in the machine room of a ferry, it was a lot of things in there. I didn't recognize all of them, but I had to do this picture myself, and I said, hey, what is consuming diesel here? Yeah, we have the main engines, help engines, and we have the heating system for the ferry. And all of them are consuming diesel, and also letting CO2, NOx and particulates out in here. And of course that is not the strength with that, because they are doing fantastic transport work, no doubt about that. But the question is, how can we improve the situation? So therefore we looked at every single ferry here, Marie, Beda, Ada, and Göta. They do a fantastic transport work. More or less everyone living on the island are very happy with the ferries. They're doing, going on timetable, safe, and doing everything. Customer are happy, so to speak. And when the Älvsborgs bridge here is closed, the ferry is still going. And so no doubt about that. And they are performing very well. But of course, when it comes to the environmental side, it can be big improvements. And that work has started. Here is another ferries here, and some more ferries. And here is the Öckerö authorities or municipalities' own ferries. Bure here. Bure is going around 5,000 hours per year. Yeah. And you are doing that for Västtrafik. Yeah. to connect some of the islands there with passenger traffic. So in total it is 11 ferries, which one of them could be better than today when it comes to environment. And that job has already started, as I said. As a very quick fix here is, of course, to put in HVO diesel and get a reduction of 90% of the fossil CO2. And that you have done now since
September.
September, yes. Yeah, it's cool.
No problem.
No problem at all, going very well.
In all ferries? Or?
No, just in this one. Because what's happening here is also that you are increasing, you are doubling the fuel bill, roughly.
Yeah.
Or even more than double.
Yeah, a little bit more.
A little bit more than double. Because normally you are running on tax-free diesel, and if you go into this, you pay around 11, 12.
10.50.
10.50 crowns per liter of HVO then. And Fredrik has told me that they have taken a decision in Färjerederiet that the whole Hörneleden, the biggest link we have in Sweden, and have HVO on all those ferries. It's now a matter of time before you are a decision is taken, so to speak, and that's very positive, of course. So.
Right. Sorry, have you performed any measurements on board Bure yet?
Sorry?
Have you performed any exhaust measurements? On Bure?
No, we just have the data from
the manufacturer.
Yeah.
And there's
like those measurements.
Yeah.
Good. Because it coming from the truck the side. There has been a lot of new fuel coming up, new lubrication coming up during the, and said this is fantastic and you will reduce this and that. Our technicians have always been very conservative and said no, there is no magic things here. But surprisingly, HVO went through very quick, and they say this is even a better fuel than the diesel oil. No restriction when it comes to service intervals. Just go for it, as long as it is out there and so on. So no limitation on warranty and anything else when it comes to this from Volvo Penta, as I know. Maybe the same for Scania, I believe, and the other players. All right. This picture we produced in a group work, and we said, okay, let's determine the actual situation. Those 11 ferries consuming roughly 3.7 million liters of diesel every year. Main engines, help engines, heater, and we have to start. The journey had already started, of course, with training, economy. What you call that now? When you are training the personnel to drive eco-driving, sorry, thank you. The eco-driving has already been done and so on, but there are still things to do with the follow-up, and Styrselbolaget we have had before. They are, I think, the benchmark when it comes to follow-up of things, when it comes to fuel consumption. Okay, when we did this picture, it was very fast done in a PowerPoint, but what we didn't know at that time was that something else was also going on in Norway. I will come to that. So this was the phase 0, the actual situation, and then the journey down to phase 3 here. So maybe not now, if I understand it right, someone is now thinking to go direct from phase 1 down to phase 3, not to take phase 2. Because phase 2 can be very expensive, and maybe you could put all effort in to go to phase 3 direct, because that involves a lot of infrastructure investments as well, of course, to run on 100% batteries. Jag ser inte ut det nog. 5 minuter kvar, jag kör på. Okej. Ampere is a great benchmark. So when we made this PowerPoint and we said fossil free, I said it can be very tough to reach that. But we didn't know that that project was ongoing. So suddenly they presented this, and it was the ship of the year 2014, and started in January 2015 with this operation, replacing one of 3 big diesel-driven ferries. So that one is really showing this is possible, and it's working every day. There are different equipment in there to fix the location of the ferry when it comes to the port, and do the automatic charging of the ferry. So we went there with the ferry Volvo Penta, Kallenberg, and other people there to look into this and to get inspired about what the Norwegians have done here. And the performance here, those ferries are going 20 minutes for every trip, comparing with Höneleden, 12 minutes. And they do it 34 times per 24 hours. And when they are stopping 10 minutes in the port, they get the needed charge for the next trip.
You know that this is also introduced in Helsingborg.
Yeah, I know. We are going there in October to take a study trip there and get more of the detail there. In this project, it was Siemens who was behind this. In Helsingborg, Helsingør, it is ABB who has been involved there. Yeah, Scanline. It's a big investment now. I have to speed up here. So, when we now are looking into what is in the market, we see things coming out, and Ampere is just the first one. There are a lot of more electrical ferries in the pipeline coming out in the market. In Sweden, we have this Sjövägen for passenger transport. We have Movit, and we have this Ariel, the prototype that we tested a couple of weeks ago at Öckerö. We took the opportunity when this boat was on its way from Stockholm to Oslo, and we had it out more or less a week out and on the islands, and we tested 100% electrical ferry with the ASV technique, with this pressurized air under the boat, so it lifts up and going fast. For those of you who would like to go into more detail, there are a lot of information about the BB Green project you can see the whole story there. I think it's 50 pages with details. But this started 2008 and 2017 they were out in the market. A very long time. But they have done a fantastic job, as you see it, and opened the eyes and see if there could be a possibility to utilize this type of transport in the future here. With the ASV technique, you don't get this type of waves. As I said, I will not go into that now, but they also got a big award now, a couple of weeks ago. I think it was in Amsterdam. So this is a picture where we have this ferry out and invited the inhabitants at Röret to have a test ride and get information about this. We are also asking money from Leader Södra Bohuslän in order to see if we can get some funding there to make a pre-study and to give a platform for the municipality to decide if this is something for Öckerö when it comes to passenger traffic, to improve the communication between the islands and so on. So this is the target picture, to have the main engines running on with electricity and help engines and so on, the whole system really as an and we hope that can be a part of the future, Fredrik and Peter here. And thanks for the collaboration that we have in a positive way, and we hope that together we could achieve this. So the last picture is Öckerö. We have already started the journey, and hopefully the ferries will come along quite quick. So, thank you very much for the attention. I think there maybe is some questions. Can we have a time for that, or maybe I'm late?
They were so. We can have one or two short questions.
Sorry.
No problem. I think the audience had some questions
during
your talk. So.
Right.
But
Yes.
does anyone have an additional question that you want to pose to Stanley? Because otherwise I have one that I would really like to ask. Because what you're saying, you're aiming for 2025, and that's less than 10 years. It's almost like 7.
Yeah, very quick, yeah.
Yes. And it's quite ambitious. So what would you say from your point of view and the actors that you're representing, what's the biggest challenge to reach this goal?
I think to have the pressure up from the politicians that they are committed and they are going for, because they have also to start to dance with the companies out there and show also good examples, and so that it really will start to be everyone's knowledge that the community we are leading here, and we have to reach 2025 is not far away. No. We know who has been working around that 10 years going very quick. So this is the challenge and a needed way to be successful here is to keep the pressure up and the commitment from the politicians. So far they have been 100% backing up this, and that is
to continue important. The collaboration.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I will say that now we will have a coffee break, and we will have 15 minutes. So we will be back here 5 to 11. And I suggest that you take, I think it's something with a coffee, a little sandwich or a bun or something. And I suggest you take that one because the lunch is a bit later, so that you don't get hungry. So I will see you all in 15 minutes.
Jag såg ju vi fick den här fläkten laddningskonceptet.